Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into Awesome Sunday Show. Before we get started, we'd like to tell you where you can find us.
Find all of our episodes, including new content like blogs and guest blogs, on our newly launched website, awesomesundayshow.com.
Woohoo!
Our podcast is also available on iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube. You can find all those links also on awesomesundayshow.com.
You can also follow us on our social media accounts, twitter.com/awesomesunshow, facebook.com/awesomesundayshow, and instagram.com/awesomesundayshow.
Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows like the one you're about to enjoy, visit electronicmediacollective.com. And now, our feature presentation.
Connor is going to name his firstborn Sheldon Cooper Hessen.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Awesome Sunday Show, the Sunday episode edition. Connor here.
I'm Pat as well.
Pat, how you doing?
Doing A-okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Doing swell there, buddy?
Totally swell.
You grew back the mustache.
Yeah, I've had it for like 2 weeks maybe.
Yeah, but I didn't say anything on the show.
Oh, well, yeah, I got a sweet mustache right now.
Yeah, so the 2-week-old mustache on Pat's face. It's actually a caterpillar that died above his lips, but he doesn't shower, so he never got rid of it.
I just couldn't get rid of it because we came so close. We were bonding.
Yeah. The caterpillar's name is Steven.
You know what? Actually, speaking of my mustache, I think we have a new reward on our Patreon, patreon.com/awesomesundayshow and patreon.podbean.com/awesomesundayshow. The highest tier reward, I will shave my mustache and send it to you in a baggie.
Also, too, you may get
and I'll sign the baggie.
You also may get a VHS copy of Mystic Pizza, starring Julia Roberts, that I found in my house.
You know what? We'll sign that too.
We'll sign it, and
that's if you buy the T-shirt.
It's just random. I don't know when it's gonna happen. You can buy a T-shirt, you can apply to Patreon, but there's a chance that like you just in your mailbox you might get a copy of on VHS of Mystic Pizza starring Julia Roberts.
And listen, if you don't have a VCR still, you can bring that sucker to Costco and they convert it to DVD for you.
Yeah, I mean you could also buy a VHS player for the VHS copy of Mystic Pizza starring Julia Roberts that I found in my house that I can send to you if you sign up for Patreon or buy a T-shirt. And remember, it's a VHS copy of Mystic Pizza starring Julia Roberts, so you can't really find those anywhere. A VHS copy of Mystic Pizza starring Julia Roberts.
Wait, what is the VHS of?
Mystic
I'm kidding.
Pizza.
Don't say it again. Yeah, but check those links out and get a T-shirt on awesomesundayshow.com. Before we get into today's episode, I'm going to warn you now that is a spoiler-heavy episode in regards to Alien Covenant. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, turn this off, go see it, come back and watch it.
Yeah, no, you should watch the...
listen to this.
Yeah, or I don't know.
You know what I meant.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't be mad at us if this spoils anything for you because this is your warning. Now, before we get into the show, I want to thank our sponsors today. Today we are sponsored by Loot Crate. Loot Crate is a monthly subscription box service for epic, geek, and gamer items and pop culture gear. For less than $20 a month, you get 6 to 8 items that include licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, unique one-of-a-kind items, and more. It's sick. It's like Comic-Con in a box. You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate, and when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over. Can't get it. Those items are gone. And listen, you're going to be missing out on some cool stuff. Every month, they choose 1 to 4 themes. And they're always cool. They recently did a Guardians of the Galaxy one, a Rick and Morty one, DC, Marvel. They do a lot of anime ones. And you get some sick stuff in there. They have options for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and 12-month subscription. And with the 12-month subscription, you get a free T-shirt. And you know what? We are going to give you 10% off for our wonderful, wonderful listeners.
Woohoo.
By going to trylootcrate.com/awesome and enter the code BRIDGE10. That's trylootcrate.com/awesome and enter the code BRIDGE10 to save 10% on any new subscription. And listen, by supporting Loot Crate, you're supporting us, and that would just be so lovely. Plus, you'll get really cool stuff out of it. just like if you go on, and subscribe to our Patreon. But Loot Crate has some really cool stuff. I definitely recommend trying it out.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, so thank you, Loot Crate. Are you going to go?
I was going to give it another couple seconds, but since you're forcing me. Today's show is also brought to you by Gamefly.com. Folks, you can sign up for a free premium 30-day trial, one game out, specifically for the listeners of Awesome Sunday Show. Folks, you can accomplish this by going to www.gameflyoffer.com/awesome for the free 30-day premium trial. That's one game out. Why should you sign up for Gamefly? Well, Gamefly has over 8,000 new releases and classics available for rent. Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS4, PS3, PS Vita, Wii U, Wii, and 3DS. Oh my gosh. And soon probably to be Nintendo Switch if they already don't have it on there. As well as older systems like PS2, OG Xbox, GameCube. Those may not be so classics for people like us. We're kind of classics for us. It's kind of like Super Nintendo, but it's a classic for you maybe. But still, you can't really rent games that old anymore, so that's pretty gnarly. As a Gamefly member, you can rent as many console and handheld games as you want and get them delivered right to your mailbox for one low monthly fee. You can do a 1-disc plan for $15.95 a month or a 2-disc plan for $22.95 a month. There is no contracts, and you can cancel any time. You can actually ship them back directly with a pre-addressed envelope that is given to you. Now, folks, you can rent games online through the mobile app as well, or at your home. So whether you're on the go or whether you're just lounging on your couch, you can always rent a game. Rentals ship to arrive on actual game release dates, so no more standing outside for midnight releases. Absolutely no due dates. Instead of buying 2 or 3 games a year, you can get an entire year's worth of Gamefly service and rent as many games as you want. Remember, folks, there is absolutely no late fees whatsoever. Never get burned by buying a bad game or get stuck with a game that only takes a few days to beat. And folks, if you're renting a game through Gamefly and you really like it, like really, really like it, it's like how Dalia loved Order 1886 because it's his favorite game. Didn't you like that game?
I never played it.
Oh, never mind. All right, what game did you hate?
So that you can use it against me?
Yeah.
Just finish the...
All right. So, by the way, we have a guest.
Assassin's Creed 3.
All right. If you really love the game, you can get a huge discount on the used game, and Gamefly will always ship you the box and the manual so you can keep that game, like Delia's copy of Order 1886. So, folks, remember, go over to www.gameflyoffer.com/awesome for the free 30-day premium trial. Thank you, Gamefly, for sponsoring this episode.
What a dumbass, Connor. Anyway, we got 2 guests today. Obviously, Anthony D'Elia. You just heard him. Say hi to the folks.
Hey, everybody. I'm really happy to be on the show getting accused of loving games that I've never played before.
And we have the better Daniello-Kraemer here.
Yeah, we do have the better Daniello-Kraemer.
No offense, Damien, but yeah, really a lot of offense. Chris.
Hello, everybody.
Chris, this is you've been on the show, but via
Telephone.
Via telephone. So this is actually your first time sitting in the chair recording with us.
After the
Actually, it's the second time, technically, but it's going to be the first time that it's going to be released with him sitting here instead of on the phone.
Yeah. Chris, come a little closer to the mic. And actually, if this is someone's first episode of Awesome Sunday Show, I'd like the both of you just to tell a little about yourselves. It's always someone's first episode of something, so you never know. Chris, why don't you go first?
My name is Chris. I have a twin brother, Damien, that nobody likes. I am married. I have 3 kids and 1 on the way.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's going to be named Patrick.
He will be named Connor, not Pat. It's okay.
And then he would get bullied for the rest of his life. Don't do that, Chris.
And this is technically my second time on the show.
Technically, yeah.
Technically.
And I'm Anthony, frequent flyer on the Awesome Sunday Show.
Yeah.
And
Going to have to get you a punch card.
writer of blogs on the Awesome Sunday Show
You have
website.
written more blogs for the website than Connor and I have combined.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just love doing my part and helping out.
That's why you're a good friend.
Yeah. No, thank you guys for coming on. That concludes this episode. No, I'm just kidding. That joke will never get old, ever. So, guys, glad to know you. So, this is, as we said before, this is a very spoiler-heavy review of a certain movie. On 3, we're all going to see the same movie. Or we're going to say the movie at the same time. 1, 2, 3.
Connor
Mystic
sucks.
Pizza.
Oh, okay. All right. That's what
Mine
I
was the best answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alien Covenant, the sequel to the prequel of Alien, one of possibly 6 prequels, according to Ridley Scott,
So is that
to the
The
Alien franchise.
sprequel?
Yeah, it's pretty much that. That's like it's the Alien franchise, the Alien universe has been fucked up for quite a while now. But Covenant came out, the sequel to Prometheus, which was the first prequel to the popular Alien franchise that was rightfully abandoned after the last couple entries, and then the crossover with Predator. You're about to say you loved it.
No. So, this is how I feel about the Alien franchise. The Alien franchise is like the best piece of deli meat between 2 slices of stale fucking bread. The best part is always in the middle, and that's Alien and Aliens. So you probably already know how I feel somewhat. Sorry.
Well, actually, technically now that is the middle now.
Yeah.
Those two movies are the middle now. The OGs, the wonderful Alien and the even better Aliens.
Yes, I agree with that statement. I don't know. I guess before we get into the movie, Alien Covenant, I'd like to know how you feel about the Alien. And we're not gonna go super heavy into this because I think people want to know what we thought about the movie. But you are the very special guest of Awesome Sunday Show, so very special guests always go first. As a whole, what do you love and hate about the Alien franchise, and I guess what's your favorite movie?
Well, I love the first and second Alien. Well, Alien and Aliens.
Yeah.
It started to go downhill at Alien 3 and then Alien 4.
David Fincher.
Yeah.
That poor guy.
I know.
I don't blame him for that movie.
No,
I
you
don't
can't blame him for that movie at all.
And then we got to the Alien vs. Predator movies,
Yeah.
which were not good. The first one was better than Requiem, though. I have to
Oh
say.
yeah, I agree. It's better than Requiem, but a headache's better than diarrhea.
And then Prometheus came out, which was not good as well. The only thing good about that was Michael Fassbender, which I thought for Prometheus.
Yeah.
and Idris Elba.
Fair.
And then then this one came out, which we'll get into.
Yeah. Anthony.
So I think that Alien is a classic of horror. It will always be a classic of both sci-fi and horror. It's one of the most incredible science fiction films, in history. I mean, when you just look at when it was made and how it was made, and it just it blows my mind every time I watch it that a movie like that managed to get made and to turn out that well. And then with Aliens, with James Cameron coming in and basically taking this world and translating it into an action movie context, managed to, in many people's opinions, yours included, better the first one. For me, it's hard to pick one over the other. I love them both. They're both near perfect movies.
Mm-hmm.
So, I can't really distinguish between the two of them in terms of my favorite. And then, obviously the movies get progressively worse from there. I mean, Alien 3 it's not a good movie at all, but it's not as bad as its reputation. I think it gets colored a lot more negatively because of what comes after it, because the fourth film is just a travesty, and the crossover with Predator obviously was not good. So then when Prometheus came out, I was excited as like everybody else that Ridley Scott was back, and when I first saw the movie, I thought it was good, and then once I thought about it more,
Yeah, it's one of those movies.
realized that on the surface, it seems great, and it's got amazing visual effects. It looks great, but then once you actually think about the script and all the issues with the characters, it just kind of falls apart. So
Doesn't make too much sense.
right. So I love the production design and the visual effects in Prometheus, but everything else about it is not good. So, I didn't really know what to expect going into this one. And that's kind of where I stand with the franchise, I mean, it's probably not an uncommon position to take.
Okay. Patrick.
Yeah. You are right about Alien 3 getting more flack than it deserves, but it's because it comes off 2 of the best science fiction movies ever, of all time, and horror and action movies too. So there's a lot of pressure on it to be good, and it's not a good movie, but it gets way more hate than it probably deserves. But there's no doubt that the first two are classics. Prometheus sucked. Yes, the production design was good. Michael Fassbender was good, but it's Michael Fassbender. What the fuck do you expect?
Yeah.
And Idris Elba was good too, and that's it. Like the rest of it, even Charlize Theron and Guy Pearce, who are both excellent actors.
They're just okay.
It's just because their characters were so fucking shitty that
The script was
the
so
script,
bad. Like,
dude, I don't even know if there actually was a script.
they
I think
never
were like,
should.
They
They
improvised the
never
movie.
should have let Damon Lindelof anywhere near that script because he completely ruined it from what it was originally.
Yeah. So I kind of had my like a snippet of my thoughts before, but I think I'm a lot more cynical when it comes to this franchise than you guys might be. So I agree that Alien 3 gets more flack than it deserves, but I still think it's a really bad movie.
Yeah, it's bad. It's
Yeah.
not. I mean, we're not saying it's good. It's just
It's-
like it's not as
as
nowhere
bad as everybody
near as
says.
bad as everything that came after it.
No. I agree. I think Alien Resurrection is just like I can't believe that movie exists. And it's so funny
doesn't
that the
exist.
talent behind that
I heard
movie,
it's
too.
your favorite one.
Yeah.
though.
So people who like that movie, why? But yeah, like when you have a movie with like Sigourney Weaver, Winona Ryder, Ron Perlman, Joss Whedon with the screenplay. I'm pretty sure they had a pretty prominent director too, and then like Brad fucking Dourif, who's like.
The man.
He's the man because he's batshit crazy in everything he's in. And then like when you make someone who can take crazy to another level of scary, like Brad Dourif can, very few actors can do that. Heath Ledger did it, and Jack Nicholson did it. You know, it's like, but then you just make him like silly, like cool. I don't know. That movie sucked. And then yeah, I don't I'm beating a dead horse here, but the Aliens vs Predators movie sucked, and I didn't like Prometheus either for the same reasons why you guys said, so I'm just not going to repeat it even more. But yeah, that's how I feel about the franchise. I fucking love Alien and Aliens is one of my top 10 favorite movies ever. Like, I think Aliens is one of those movies where like action movies, I've been trying to copy it and like that tone and setting, but no one's been able to get to that level, and people have gotten close, but it's never been as good as Aliens. Aliens is fucking great.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, and it's weird too because you don't really expect Ridley Scott to come in and sort of embrace a lot of what happened in Aliens, like in terms of the more action elements.
Yeah.
But then, you know, that's exactly what happened in Prometheus and now with Alien Covenant also. I mean, granted, the Alien Covenant brought back a lot of the horror elements in some ways that were missing from Prometheus and obviously the Alien versus Predator movies and all that. But it still felt more action, you know, like more like an action movie than a straight up horror movie. It was
a
like
blend.
Like a
Try
horror
combining
action
the two.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It was definitely a blend. It was closer to the first two than, it had elements of both the first two.
Oh, this was
Just-
the best. This was the best movie in the franchise since Aliens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
No, I mean,
Like, I mean, it's not a high bar, but
yeah, it's not a high bar. I do think that this was better than Prometheus.
Do you want to go around and just say before we get into spoilers, like how we felt?
Yeah, I think it was better than Prometheus, definitely.
I didn't like it at all, but Alien Covenant I did not like at all. And I'm still kind of on the fence whether I like this or Prometheus more because my main problem, and like we'll get into it when we talk about the movie, is that this movie was incredibly boring. Like I found it very meandering and pretentious and shallow, and like it just was so like for a world like for a sci-fi movie on a different planet, it just felt so empty to me. And I know that was intentional, but like I said, we'll get to it. And then, so it was boring. At least Prometheus, as stupid as it was at some points, and like how annoying the characters were in that movie, I can at least say it never bored me. Like, I'd rather be angry than bored, I guess. So I don't know. I really don't know which one I liked more.
Well, I thought it was pretty good. It was the third best Alien movie. I did like the characters in this movie a lot better than Prometheus's characters.
Yeah.
Still not as good as the first two, but I thought it was all right. I thought it was enjoyable.
Yeah, and I'm the same. It was good. It wasn't great. I wasn't really expecting it to be great, but it's got a 75 on Rotten Tomatoes right now, and I think I would probably give it a 75 out of 100 if I was grading it myself. So it's above average, but not great.
I agree with you on that. I would give it that exact score. I actually thought Prometheus was pretty boring, aside from just being bad.
Yeah.
I don't think there were boring parts in Covenant, but overall, I don't think it was boring. I think the production design, the set pieces, the characters were much better. The action was actually, when they had action going on, it was good. There were some shaky cam problems, for sure, but like the fight choreography between Walter and David, the choreography was very good. And it was, most of that fight was filmed well, but then it kind of got a little too shaky. And then the bigger action set pieces, especially the final action set piece, I thought was really good.
Yeah, I thought that I just think it's so odd that Ridley Scott is going all in on the shaky cam, because the hand-to-hand combat scenes and a lot of the human versus alien combat scenes in this movie were shot very poorly, and it was probably my biggest problem with the film, was that a lot of the times, when you were watching these fight scenes, you can't tell what's going on, who's standing where, what's happening in relation to the other people. It's just a product of too much janky editing and the camera just shaking wildly. And I don't understand why he would do that. He didn't come up. Obviously, the guy's a legend in terms of filmmaking. He's been around for decades. He didn't come up at a time when that was a prominent filmmaking technique. So to see him using it now is just so odd to me. And it really brought down a lot of those action scenes, in my opinion.
Kind of remind me of a Paul Greengrass movie.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly
Born
right.
Ultimatum,
yeah, I mean, he's the one who really pioneered that with the Bourne movies.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, I agree. As far when it comes to, I didn't like the action. It was the shaky cam is just we can go on a whole podcast on why shaky cam is overused and annoying. But I mean, that's not the point of this podcast. It's me trying not to sneeze, and also me us talking about Alien Covenant. And the problem, on top of that, is for me coming from this movie is, I'm already so bored going into some of these action scenes that at least give me a good visual on the action scenes. So I think I'm more disappointed in that aspect than you are. Maybe, I don't know. But then you also like the movies, that might be more disappointing in your field. But
yeah, it's just tough because I enjoyed the way the movie was paced, and I liked that it started very slowly. It reminded me a lot of the way the original film starts. It focused on the characters. It introduced you to everybody. This cast is very good. You have Catherine Waterston playing Daniels, who is basically the lead character. Billy Crudup is the captain of the ship. You have Danny McBride in a rare non-comedic role.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, he was really good. And Demian Bashir, who great actor, he played a role in the film. Yeah, he was so good. He was great in Hateful Eight. He was really good on that show on FX that they had briefly called The Bridge. He's a really good actor. So the characters were a lot of fun, and I liked them a lot. I thought that they were way better than the characters in Prometheus, and that got me more invested in this story than in Prometheus.
Yes, I completely agree. All the characters are better. Because in Prometheus, I wanted to strangle Shaw.
I wanted to strangle almost every character.
Yeah, but
in that
I
movie.
specifically could not stand when she opened her mouth the entire time. Daniels in this was much, much, much better. Michael Fassbender did a great job playing two roles and really making a distinction between the two. And even visually, there was a distinction. on his face. Like it looked like they really weathered David a bit. So like when they're standing, when you're not looking at Walter's missing hand, you can tell clearly, aside from having two different accents too. But I thought Michael Fassbender, no surprise there, did a great job with that. Although David was used for two shitty twists that were predictable, so they're really not like.
Well, we should clarify that in the movie, right? Michael Fassbender plays both David, who was his character, his android character from Prometheus,
right,
and he also plays Walter, who is a different android that is on the Covenant ship at the beginning of this film.
It is an updated version of David, made to be more robotic,
less human, which
David brings up to him, and we find out it was actually a really good decision because David goes batshit insane and just wants to become a god and seeks to wipe out humans and other organic life based on these experiments he wants to do. I mean, he killed Shaw and used her as a guinea pig, really, which good because I'm glad that she didn't actually show up in this.
So yeah,
Technically did.
Her dead body did.
So the thing with David, I think, is part of why when Connor talks about how he's not a fan of the philosophical elements that have been introduced in the franchise.
So annoying.
All of that stuff has been introduced through David. So if you're not at least like willing to tolerate what he's doing or his purpose as a character, then I can see why that would be a weak point.
But you can tell, like the opening scene between Wayland and David, you can tell that he is a philosophical character, and like it set the tone for the philosophical discussions and actions later on.
And like it was good ideas too, like when he's like teaching him how to play the flute or the recorder or like whatever he had, I thought it looked like a recorder.
Where he was he's thinking of the fingering line.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Okay. So that's not what I was thinking of, but that's very true. I guess we'll just talk about it right now, just to clear the air. So like, there's a part where David is teaching Walter how to use the flute the recorder, whatever.
The thing he blew into.
Yeah.
Oh god.
And he goes, and he's like, and Walter has one hand, and he's like kind of trying to play. He's like learning. He's like, I don't know music, and he's like, yes, of course you do, and blah blah blah, and like other shit, and he's like holding it. And he's like, and David looks at Walter and he goes, let me do the fingering. And in the context of the scene, it's because he's hitting the notes while he's blowing into the flute. But when you say let me do the fingering, like.
It was an innuendo.
You guys immediately started giggling in the theater, and I looked to my left because I knew you would, and I was exactly right.
But like, I felt like we were the only ones giggling in that whole theater.
No one else. There's people next to us.
I think we might have just been really immature.
We're just all man children. So
now, I mean, that was kind of funny, but the part I didn't like in that scene was just like what was so annoying was that when David looks at Walter and he's like, you have the ability to create, you just don't know it, or he like says something along those lines, where it's essentially like, even though we're androids and we were created by the humans, we can also create. Mm-hmm. Like, and it's just kind of like, I love Ridley Scott's sci-fi movies for the most part, but it's like, didn't we kind of like tackle this kind of in Blade Runner to a certain extent? Like, not exactly the same like philosophy, the same question, but the same attitude and same tone.
I don't know. In Blade Runner, it was more like the replicants were trying to discover like themselves, whereas in this movie, it was more that David realizes that humanity is beyond saving and decides that he should be able to do better.
But
he knows that they're a weak organism. And he sees the xenomorphs as the much superior living organic being.
Right, but then also going back to Blade Runner, where it's the androids trying to find themselves, like the replicants trying to find themselves and trying to survive as well. Then like you look at David, and it's like I can't help it for him trying to find himself. Him finding himself comes to that conclusion of thinking humans are a weak organism, as far as, especially when you see all the artwork that's laying around, and like his his experiments and shit. Like it was, again, this is a nitpick. So, and like I completely admit that, but it was just, but like I can only why did they have to keep going on? Like, it was literally like they were breaking up boring parts of the movie with even longer drawn out dialogue about something that is like, are you right and wrong? Like, did you ever think about this? Like, let's ponder
Because he had
this
to
question.
establish both sides to the philosophical question.
But
Yeah, I think they're trying. I
it
think
was just so much.
no, yeah. Well, again, and that's just that's just going to go towards your tolerance, a person's personal tolerance for that kind of stuff, that kind of philosophical stuff in a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, if you weren't such a plebeian, I think.
No,
you
that's
would
not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying
Yeah.
he just doesn't. He's just not a fan of that, and that's fine because
It's not that I'm not a fan of like philosophy and sci-fi. I think they go together very well. I mean, look, you could see it in Star Wars, Blade Runner. There's so much different. There's like it didn't fit in this movie to me. Like, it was I thought this was gonna, and like I know there's perceptions going into movies shouldn't really be a thing, and like I understand that, but this movie was advertised as a horror movie, and then it kind of starts off like at the beginning of Alien, which is a horror movie. So like, it's just like I'm waiting to be entertained and scared, but then like you need a good story and characters around that. And again, not that and these characters are significantly better than Prometheus, but I'm not going to say they're anything great. And not all of them were interesting. Only the ones that needed to be interesting were somewhat interesting.
Well, some of them
Yeah, I agree.
barely had any lines. They
Yeah.
were just there to be killed off.
It was a body count, and which is fine. But then it's just like, all right, like I just want to see some fucking xenomorphs kill some fucking people, and it's just like you just have two Davids, like, or you have two Michael Fassbenders, like talking, like, what's his life? And it's like fucking A, just get on with it. Like, come on, man. Like, I don't know.
It did take a while to see Xenomorph.
It's just so slow.
Well, at least we had the
the
neomorphs
little
between
baby
it and then
things.
the
Yeah,
face hugger.
But you don't. But again, in Alien, you don't see the chest burster for like almost an hour into the movie.
But
you
the
know?
carrot-
Like,
but
that's-
Speaking of the chest bursting, there was like 10 different ones, well, including a back one. There was a lot of them, which is fine because you kind of have to have it in Alien because when it first happened, it was such an iconic. I think it's still, in my opinion, one of the most iconic movie moments, in cinema history, cinematic history.
Yeah.
But it was like, hey, remember that time? Boom, right early in the beginning. In the beginning, I get it because it's supposed to be a surprise and attack the crew who just went to a planet that they were not intended to go to. And then it was like any other time a character was infected, it was just chest bursting, which I get. That's how the neomorphs are, released from the body. But okay, we get it. It doesn't have the same effect when you do it 100 times over.
Well, didn't it? The first one was a back burst.
Yeah, backwards.
The second one was a face.
He
burst.
threw it up.
Yeah. Then we got.
Oh, Billy Crudup's
was a chest burst.
Was a chest
and
burst.
so was it was off screen, but
Yeah.
The sergeant.
Demi and Bashir's was also
Yeah.
which was I was surprised about that. Just as a quick aside, I thought they cut the face hugger off in time because usually
That's what I thought too.
It takes
yeah.
way. It's supposed. I mean, it should take way longer than that for it to implant the
Normally, but David was doing experiments. Maybe he made it a much quicker.
yeah, I thought that too.
process,
But the one with Billy Crudup looked like it took longer. I don't know.
He was
I
out
th-
for a while.
Yeah,
But see,
that's
that's
what I'm
just
saying. Like,
that's just confusing now because like
Because I think it was just the way the scenes were cut that it made it seem like it took longer than it was.
yeah.
that's just sloppy editing then.
No, it is because there's no you can't tell how much time has passed between the face hugger, impregnating him and then the
'Cause in the
neomorph coming out.
I mean, it wasn't that long of a period of time when you think about it, but like in the moment, it felt like it was longer.
Yeah, because they cut away, so you don't
Right.
know.
But then you have to remember that whole scene took place over the course of that whole
Half an hour.
that whole portion of the movie, right, took place over the course of like an hour and a half, like.
Something like that. Yeah.
Plus, they had him running to the ship. They had him standing there. They had him go onto the ship, getting patched up. So I don't know how long that actually took.
Yeah, I don't know, but that again, I'm just nitpicking at this point because that's not even the biggest problem with the movie at all.
No, and one thing I guess I understand why they did it, but they repeated a character trait and plot point from Prometheus. Granted, they didn't do it nearly as in your face, but it was still brought up too much, which was having a leader or the main leader. In the first one, Shaw, and then in this one, Billy Crudup's character,
It was-
Orem.
Yeah, Orem.
Both being very religious, and which is fine, but like it was like, you know, we need your faith, or they don't, you know, people don't respect you if you have faith on a mission like this, and then boom, and then Daniel's, we need your faith, this faith, this, Walter, what do you believe in? David, what do you believe in? Like, it was like, okay,
Well,
we get
technically,
it.
He wasn't the captain first.
He was not the original captain,
No.
right, which is why he was nervous when he took over, because they're not going to believe in me because of the stuff I believe.
I just thought, well, again, and this goes back towards a point that I was going to make before with regard to the philosophical elements, was that I thought that they worked a lot better in this one than they did in Prometheus.
That's true.
And part of the reason why is because with the religious aspect of Orum's character, it wasn't as obnoxious as it was in Prometheus.
Right.
Like, it really just served as the impetus for why he was willing to abandon the original plan and land on this planet, which we learn is the engineers' homeworld.
Yes.
Or at least one of their main colony worlds, but it looked like their homeworld. But we realized that, you know, he takes this leap of faith because he's religious, and he probably thinks that this was fated to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, his faith is mentioned like a couple times after that, but then after that, you don't really hear about it again.
Yeah.
So it was good that it, like, all right, you established that this is a religious person. It makes sense why he makes this boneheaded decision to abandon their mission, and then that's it.
Well, see, his because in the car on the way home, Connor brought up a point which you felt them going to that planet initially was dumb.
For me, it wasn't strong enough motivation.
But I personally think, I think, Anthony, you and I agree, I don't know about you, Chris, but that it was the reasoning behind him abandoning Orgay 6, the initial planet that they were on Trek for, to go to this new one, which I don't think was ever named.
No, it wasn't.
Was sound, because all the scans, the data from it showed that it would be a better world for them to set up their new colonies.
What we call in Star Trek a Class M planet.
Yeah. So the logic was fine there, but then he's like, when David is showing him the eggs of the facehuggers,
that was.
He goes, go ahead, look inside, after he just saw what happened to the one crew member with the multiple crew members with the fucking neomorphs. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, yeah, this is fine. And then he sees the thing moving in. Oh, this is cool. Let me get a closer look. And then, like, that was a very stupid decision.
Another reason why is because this one also took, 2 weeks, they said, to get there, and the other one's going to take 7 years to get to. So they said, he was saying, if we get there, we'll still have time to go back if this is an habitable planet.
Yeah. They thought, right, like, he thought it was just going to take a little.
Yeah, it was going to be a pit stop.
It's just
right?
like,
Exactly,
yeah, but at the same time, like, I get where you guys are coming from, and like, it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. But then, like, for me, again, like, it's just a nitpick, you know. For me, it's just like, dude, you're pretty much in charge of thousands of people, and like, when they wake up, you're gonna have to tell them that they're not on the planet that you told them they're gonna be on.
Had it worked out, he's like, this was the data showed that this was a better planet. I think people would have been forgiving, because like, oh, this is a better one for us to live on, instead of just the simulations.
Then, like,
instead of just the
Wayland
simulations you had, then okay, I get it.
The Wayland Corporation, then like at the same time, like, it's just, there's so much you can really, like, I feel like you can really get down and dirty into it. It's just like, they said they studied the other planet that they went to, that they were supposed to go to. I'm sorry.
They did simulations.
They did simulations. They did no simulations with this planet.
But they were close enough to get accurate readings, like concrete readings, before they descended.
Yeah, and there was a fucking storm the whole time they were there.
They still got and it showed that it was better in comparison to the data they collected of the original planet.
I guess so.
So if it's a better planet, you know, you're gonna want the better planet. You're not gonna get, if you have the opportunity to get a McDonald's cheeseburger,
Shake Shack
versus Shake Shack, like, and you're picking for like 5 other people and they don't know, you're like, are you gonna pick the one that you initially planned for, that you know everything about? Or you can get the Shake Shack, which is proven to be better.
Here, wait.
But here's
actually,
but let me extend that olive branch a little more. Is you have the McDonald's cheeseburger, and then you have the Shake Shack burger, which the Shake Shack burger is clearly better. But then someone tells you that the McDonald's burger has been clearly tested, that's not going to give you any foodborne illness, and the Shake Shack burger might kill you.
See, I
Shake
think
Shack is worth the risk, man.
it is, but I think a better analogy for this situation would be, you could either take the time to buy all the ingredients and cook your own burger at home, or you can drive 10 minutes and go to Shake Shack and get an amazing burger that's already been made for you. Because remember, they were going to have to terraform that planet, and
That's true. They had all the gear.
and that takes a long time. So
Unless it's Man of Steel.
yeah. Jesus.
But then it's just
oh my
you
god,
have
I just got PTSD.
then you have billions, maybe trillions of dollars that this company just put into, and then you're just gonna make this decision.
They were at that point, how far away from Earth they were under no obligation to Wayland Corporation.
And also
anymore.
remember, they were
ties were completely severed, because it would have taken, say a minimum of 50 years for any penalty to come of the Wayland Corporation.
And also, don't forget, they were still really shaken up by what happens at the very beginning of the movie when they all got woken from hypersleep because of that.
And James
that
Franco
solar
caught on
flare.
fire somehow.
Yeah, well,
he didn't get caught on fire. He was
Incinerated. He was put in the cremation.
Then they shot him outside the spaceship.
So yeah, they said that they didn't want to go back in the pods, and a lot of the people that were forcibly awoken from hypersleep agreed with them. In fact, they said
especially because
of
how painful it looked coming out, getting out of those things. I wouldn't want to do that again.
Yeah.
So I think that the initial decision, I get why he made that decision. There's logic to it. He obviously regretted it, but who's to say that the engineers didn't have a establishment on Orgay 6 with the xenomorph embryos, eggs, and stuff there? It's just when they went there, they went because of the distress signal, which was of human origin. So they wanted to investigate that. And so it's just happenstance that they landed on that one, even though it was probably actually, it was kind of I don't think David could have expected somebody to reach that transmission, because Shaw is the one who released it and was just pray to God that this reaches somebody. So the initial decision to go to the second planet is sound, but his decisions thereafter were not.
Did Shaw plant the wheat, or did David? That's what I understand.
Well,
no, I think the engineers did.
The engineers probably.
Yeah.
Because they are humanoid, they created human, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I think what they said in the movie was basically does it make sense that human vegetation is all the way out here? And they were like, no, but in reality, it was probably that wheat comes from that planet, and the engineers brought it to Earth.
Well, not to mention they probably didn't know dick about the engineers.
No, they did.
The
definitely
the
didn't know
Prometheus crew had the belief there and what they thought were the findings, and then they ended up actually meeting an engineer. And then David, I guess, whether it was within him in Prometheus or 10 years alone, just turned him evil. He gets to that planet, but it was almost instantly
No, I think
when
honestly,
he got to that planet, he wiped it out away.
He was that. I don't think he was evil. I think that he is just twisted psychologically based on everything that he has come to feel about humanity and discover about the human race, and how he was created, but he views himself as superior to us, and that is why he feels that he can take it upon himself to essentially exterminate us or convert us into xenomorphs.
Yeah.
So
and then he just dropped a nuke on them, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, we should talk about that scene, because that was basically the biggest lore of such as it is, the alien world lore, right? That was the biggest lore bit in the whole movie, was that flashback to when he landed on when they first landed on this planet.
Was Shaw dead before that, I'm assuming, or?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really know.
We don't know. We also don't know how she rebuilt him, unless there was technology to do it on board, and he's like, "Hey, do it like this."
That was annoying.
Because I highly doubt she would have let him kill all those people.
No, I don't think so. No, actually, I definitely don't think she would have. He probably would have, put her out of her misery prior to that, and then experimented on her.
Okay.
But he quote unquote loved her.
Unless she was in hypersleep.
And also, unless he was just saying that.
True, but what we do know is when they left and Prometheus, both of those, Shaw was alive.
And he was just ahead.
And he was just ahead, and then he got his full body back, and then over the course of 10 years grew some hair,
Which
but
makes
not a
no sense.
beard.
Not a beard. I was thinking that
He
too.
could have shaved.
He could have shaved, but wanted to keep the hair long.
thought
I don't know.
They kept the hair so you can tell them apart at first.
Initially, yeah, and then, but as soon as he cut his hair, I'm like,
Yep.
well, he's gonna try and replace Walter with himself. Like,
Yep.
there you go, just gonna cut his hand off any
He cut
second
his
now.
hair pretty close with just scissors though. Like how good his hair looked.
With
with shears.
Yeah, with shears, exactly. And I thought we were gonna find out more about the engineers in this one. Nope,
Well, we found out a little bit. I mean, we found
they
out
got annihilated by David.
Yeah, well, we found out. Yeah, well, we found out kind of what their civilization looked like, and
True.
they were like greeting that ship that was returning from the Prometheus planet. They were pretty excited to see it.
Yeah,
you know,
because I don't know if because it was never established in Prometheus how long those engineers were on that planet before they went away.
Right, but also weren't they? I mean, I guess they were celebrating because they thought that they had just returned from exterminating humanity.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
whatever they were sent out on, like, their goal. They're like, okay, they're back, they completed it, and they had it seems like a very almost like Egyptian or Greek Roman idolatry to them because of all the statues they had of themselves and these huge heads carved into massive mountains.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was awesome, and
the look of that whole like abandoned or ruined engineer city that the second half of the movie takes place in was amazing.
Yeah, and it's just like, in the beginning, Wayland wants to find out who created him. In this one, they had the opportunity to explore more, and they didn't. And if that was the goal of the first one and the prologue to this movie, I would have liked to have seen some of that.
But also, remember, in the prologue to this movie, there's that bit where David asks Wayland, if you created me, who created you?
Yeah.
And that's sort of what spurs, I guess, this need to learn about, creation and this obsession with creating that David has. And he realizes, if he can kill his creator, why not kill his creator's creator? And that's sort of what led him to do what he did, I think.
Do you guys still? This is what I've just been pondering, and it might have just slipped my mind, or I might not just remembered. Or they might have explained it in the movie, but I just didn't see it. So I'm hoping maybe you guys can answer the question for me. Remember at the beginning of Prometheus when one of the engineers drinks that black potion and he just disintegrates?
Yeah.
What was the point of that? Was that answered in this movie? Because I was looking for that answer.
Go ask
wasn't
Damon
answered.
Lindelof.
It wasn't answered. It was not addressed. It was just shown that it was that toxin, which ended up being the
David used.
the neomorph, xenomorph, like fluids. Or whatever, or eggs.
I think it was the toxin. I think it was the extermination toxin. It was it was the toxin that he used to kill the engineers. My best guess, and again I have no idea because so much of Prometheus doesn't make any sense, but my best guess is that scene at the beginning was like that guy was like testing it, and then they were going to take it and use it on the humans. But I don't know.
I guess so.
Or the other guess was like a lot of people when the movie came out were saying that beginning scene of Prometheus takes place like on Earth, like primordial, like pre-humanity Earth, and by drinking that potion and letting himself disintegrate into the water, he was creating life on Earth. But that's or whatever planet that was, and it was just sort of showing
He's releasing
how,
a seed.
Right? Yes, exactly. And they were just God damn it, and they were just showing like how the engineers created life. So it was. I think it's either one of those two things, but I don't know.
Maybe in the next one we'll find out.
Doubt it.
Well, the one after.
Unless they get lit.
Or the one after.
Yeah.
Or the sixth
Or the
Oh
one
my
after.
God.
Yeah, or the sixth prequel. I don't know, but
And we'll still find
I was that's one of the things I was most disappointed in because the goal of the first one was to find the creators and then find out why, how, this, that, and like Road to Sky was like, yeah, in the next one. And then, nope, nothing of it. I'm like, okay, well, why are you establishing this if that was not a plot point? Was that even a plot point or ever brought up in the first 3-4 Aliens? Yeah. Why bring this in if you're not introduce it if you're not going to address it?
Yeah, the engineers were created they were first expanded upon in Prometheus. Like,
yeah, they were brought to light in Prometheus. And
I don't even remember seeing one ever after the first movie, right? Because you see the one with the chest burster hole in its chest in the ship in the first Alien.
Mm-hmm.
But do we ever see another one after that? I don't
remember.
No.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, we never see them again until Prometheus. And the whole point of Prometheus, like you said, was supposed to be explaining them. And then it didn't.
That's what, like, the prequels originally pitched as, really. Like, the creation of this and then how the xenomorphs came into play and everything. And then it was just abandoned. And it's pretty stupid to do if you focused all of Prometheus on that and then left it with nothing in the first one and then just showed them in this one just getting annihilated.
The problem with the Alien franchise now is that there's more than one alien race. And it's just like you have these like either stick to one or don't. And it's just like, dude, like I feel like the idea of the engineers and them coming in is a neat idea, but the problem is that Alien was never this multi-focused, multi-layered, philosophical, like sci-fi, like extravaganza. It's just the first Alien and Aliens were pretty straightforward, but like the questions they asked were questions that you could either easily debate, but they were coherent, and you can get a lot of it from its simplicity. And now it's just like there's just so much. It's just like, fuck, dude. Like now there's 2 alien races and one created us, but they don't really explain why. And it's not because they're trying to be philosophical. It's just because it's just bad writing. And then like, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't like these engineers. Like why couldn't they, if they're going to make an alien movie, just keep the xenomorphs. It was so much better.
Well, it's not like you don't get the chance to ever like the engineers because you don't know shit about them.
Yeah.
Other than that, they apparently created humanity, and that's like, okay, how, why they want to kill him? Like,
imagine if the twist in the next one is that they didn't create humanity and this was all just pointless.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
There's a philosophical argument for you. Just the pointlessness of life, like
or
everything.
We will not get any reference or showing of the engineers in the next one, and it would be about David finding and wiping out all organic life in the entire universe.
Except we know he fails at that because we have the other Alien movies.
It's gonna take him 6 prequels to figure that out.
Yeah.
It's gonna take 6 prequels with David just jumping around killing people before he finally just is like, oh no, like I'm not gonna succeed.
I'm assuming he dies in the last prequel then, because if he's not an alien.
Dude, if they're making 6 more movies, there's no way that anything beyond the next 2 at the most are still prequels. You know what I mean? Like we established right before we started that there's 18 years now from the events of Covenant to the events of Alien 1. So
and it's gonna take them 7 years.
And they already wasted 10 years between Prometheus and Covenant, so it's like you gotta speed that shit up. And doesn't seem like that's
or just stop making them.
Yeah, they.
I would rather them.
Stop making them.
No.
Because again, I enjoyed this movie, but it's all just so unnecessary.
It hasn't delivered anything new or what it promised. It's actually just kind of like made the alien lore and history worse.
Right.
Yes, it did. It totally did.
Yeah.
Or at least more complicated. And not
Needlessly,
in a good
it's
right, and not in a good way.
Yeah, there was no reason.
Not in a good way.
You're right.
It made it more complicated, but not in a good way.
Yeah. It's like when
there's a difference between complex and complicated, and this is complicated.
Right.
Like it's
right. He's just trying to make it complex for the sake of complexity,
but it just winds up being complicated or convoluted.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I think we pretty much covered. I feel like mostly everything we wanted to cover. We all pretty much got our point across. Although, like, there is, I would like to go around, before we finish the podcast on your favorite part and your least favorite part. Just like one thing that you liked and one thing you didn't like, and then and I guess just like our final thoughts and rating. And of course, the very special guest of Also Sunday Show always go first. So,
Well, my favorite part would probably be the lab scene, right in the beginning, right when they find that, right when the guy gets that thing inside of him.
Yeah.
And then she brings him to the lab table, and then like the back burst thing.
oh
Yeah, the
thought
first landing
yeah.
ship, the first neomorph.
Yeah, I thought that was probably the best, more horror-related part of the movie, and I thought that's how the movie was going to turn into, but it didn't. And I thought the worst part, I thought it slowed down a lot once David met Walter. Is that
Walter,
yeah.
I thought that was the worst part, and like them talking for like it seemed like an hour.
It could have been that could have been done
honestly.
if they were going to keep it that long. It should have been better.
Yeah.
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 And I like the ending too. I like the fight between Danny McBride and Daniels and the Xenomorph.
Mm-hmm.
The twist was predictable. I saw it coming the entire time. Once she started stapling his face, and then he kept looking at his hands.
Yeah, exactly. And like at that point, I was like, okay, she knows that it's not really him, and then
Apparently
she just
didn't.
forgot. I don't know whether it was under duress of the Xenomorph or not, but because Walter was shown to be self-repairing to like for wounds that didn't have his the separation of limbs, like he was able to, after he got stabbed through the neck, come back to life.
Yeah, we knew that, but
Yeah.
she didn't know that.
Yeah. It just.
Or did she? And she kind of caught on and then just forgot.
No, she said something at the end that she like told David out of confidence, or it was
about the cabin.
It was about the cabin, yeah.
Right.
She told
That's when she figured
what
it out.
I'm
Yeah.
saying is like when she was stapling up his face, the way she was looking at him and his hand made it seem like she was catching on that it wasn't Walter.
yeah.
The way that she was staring at him is what I was like, okay, she knows it's not him, and then it just
There's just so many hints, like for our purposes, though, that it was just so
didn't
obvious,
even need the
like,
hints.
right.
Yeah.
No, but right, like it was predictable without the hints, but then like you throw in like every time they ask him to do something in that last sequence, he hesitates. It's like, okay, like obviously, like Walter would not have hesitated, and we know that Walter can heal flesh wounds, but she doesn't. But we know, so we know that she's stapling his face, but we're like, Walter wouldn't need that.
Well, see, that's why I thought she did know that because of the look she was giving
Right.
him, and I don't know if like what happened between then and right after that or not.
Was Walter dead or no?
I
Because
see.
They
I don't.
left him on. He's either dead or they just left him on that planet.
Yeah, which is so annoying because he gets stabbed in the neck, and like you're led to believe that that's like his off switch. But then at the same time, they get into that sweet fight, which was like not shot well, but choreographed very, very well, and
we last see him on top with like this big rock in his hand, about to go smash in David's
we
face.
also saw David reach for a knife.
Right.
though.
So
clearly Walter is better than David physically. So it's like, what the fuck happened?
Well, what I think happened, I don't know. I thought it was clear what happened was that David grabbed the knife, stabbed him in the neck, and then while Walter was shut down, he switched jackets or whatever and ran out
and cut off his own hand.
Right.
Actually, had he stabbed him back in the neck, the only reason Walter was able to repair himself the first time was because he took the flute out. So maybe he left the knife in that time, so he couldn't do it again, or whatever. That was kind of.
I think that like he probably just used the time that Walter was repairing himself to switch places and escape.
But like, why do we have to try to like guess this? Like, it's just annoying
that's
for
for
the sake
twist.
of the sake of the twist. That wasn't a good twist. I don't know. That pissed me off. That's actually like.
No, it wasn't a good twist, but
Yeah.
That was like the negatives M. Night Shyamalan twist right there.
Yeah.
So, and your rating?
I would give it a 7 out of 10.
So my favorite part was the whole ending sequence from the escape from the planet up until the very final scene. When we find out that when we quote unquote find out that it's actually David and not Walter. But like the action scene on the cargo lift when they're trying to get off the planet into orbit, and then the other scene where they're luring the alien into the terraform bay, I thought was awesome. Both of those scenes were great. They
I
were
agree.
great action scenes. Great way to end the movie. They were shot really well. Especially the scene at the end when they're strategically closing off the airlocks and the different bulkhead doors to shepherd the xenomorph into the terraform bay was so good, and it showed how competent and intelligent these characters were. Something that the characters in Prometheus were not. And it just gave Catherine Waterston just a chance to just look like a total badass and channel Sigourney Weaver and just be awesome.
And we also got alien vision too.
Yeah, which was interesting to say the
Yeah.
least. And then my least favorite part, like I said before, was the cinematography and the fight scenes. I thought that, or the hand-to-hand or human versus xenomorph fight scenes, I thought it was too shaky. Wasn't framed well, and it was really disorienting. And it's everything that I hate about modern action filmmaking. But like I said, most of the problems that I had with the movie, other than that, were nitpicks. I think it was fine. I would give it like a 7.5 out of 10 or whatever, 75 out of 100. So
You want to go? Or you want me to take it?
Yeah, I'll go. So what I really enjoyed was the visuals of the movie. Like this, I know you didn't like the cinematography for the action. I actually 100% agree with you. But the cinematography in general.
oh yeah, no, the
The
movie
landscape,
was gorgeous. Yep.
yeah, it was. You could frame some of those shots on there on a wall. It was absolutely gorgeous, and like that is a testament to Ridley Scott. His movies always look very good.
Yeah, and I got to give a shout out going off that to the location scout
Yeah,
who found this area in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And then the set designers, I
Yep.
think.
yeah, that they just I feel like they what set design or whatever, but they deserve some sort of fucking award. But yeah, visually it looked fantastic. It's a very great looking movie. What I didn't like about it, and there's a lot of things I didn't like about it. I think besides like I really didn't like the CG. I guess it's really just the ending. The ending was what really bothered me. Actually, I don't want to believe it's a nitpick, but I guess it is. It's just that ending really pissed me off more than anything. Just like I guess I hate when movies insult my intelligence, and I felt my intelligence was insulted because did they seriously think I didn't know that was gonna be a twist, and did they really like not show like what happened, like it's gonna be off screen about what happened to Walter, what David did to him, you're not gonna show the second chest burst, like there was just so much shit that like I felt was so like it was underwhelming. It was just so underwhelming to me, the ending, and like I don't know.
If they showed Walter like beating his face in with the rock, and then at the end it ended up being David, I think it would have been a little bit better. Like you see him kill him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then at the end, oh, it's still David.
Or if they had made it like if they had created a scenario where we didn't know whether it was Walter or David that won the fight. Like we actually, if we saw one of them win, but we didn't
That would have been
know
so
who
much
it was.
better.
Right? Like that would have been better.
Or
But
if you see like just say David's or Walter's looking down at supposed to be David looking down through the ship and see like Walter running out, you know what I mean? Like out of the building, and looking up and looking at them, then I think it would make it a little bit more like him wearing that outfit that he's wearing or something like that.
It just was like,
I just don't think of it as a twist. Think of it as dramatic irony.
But it is
I
a
would have
twist, though.
preferred
No,
like them showing that like they going from their fight before Walter's on top with the rock. Had they not shown him on top like that, they just kept like while they were fist fighting that and just like left that part out, it would have been less annoying.
I don't know. Like I didn't think it was that bad though because
it was.
It shows him with the rock, but it also shows David about to grab the knife. So look. I know that the twist is predictable, but I'm just if you think of it as dramatic irony. We know something that the characters don't know.
Yeah,
like we know it's obviously still.
But
David,
then why are you setting it up for? It's set up as a twist. Like
some people, it would probably surprise some people.
Yeah, it's a fucking idiot maybe. I don't know. Like it's just.
You could have just like insulted some of our listeners. You should apologize.
I'm sorry, listeners, for you falling for an obvious twist.
Dickhead.
But then like why? I don't know. I'm so tired of movies just always trying to have like a twist, and it's like write a good story. Like I'd rather have just visually seen what happened and like why, and then like have Michael Fassbender be the great actor that he really is. pretend to be. It would have been so much cooler watching Michael Fassbender play David, trying to play Walter, and convincing the other people. That would have been fun.
Like there was a stretch of time where he was like, quote unquote, undercover.
But that would have been fun to see.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like that's what you. I agree.
That would have been great.
Like a
Or if they
a
showed
stretch
us-
of undercover.
It showed us him stabbing him, then taking his coat off, so we know that that's actually David, and then they don't know.
Yeah,
Right.
it would have been so much cooler. It would have it may not have saved the ending, but it might have been a little more enjoyable. I don't know, but that's what I really hated the ending actually. But I'll give it like a 4.5 out of 10. 'Cause it's a
Jeez.
movie.
All right. Well, my favorite part was what you said at the end with the strategic of the closing of the doors, and then that awesome set piece like inside the terraform bay. I thought was great.
So good.
And then yes, Chris, with the first lab scene, I thought was great. My least favorite part of the movie was just showing David annihilating the engineers, and that's like all we got about them. When the first one was supposed to set up this huge like revelation for them, because Shaw leaves that planet going to seek them and like has the coordinates set for their home world or their next world or whatever, their destination that they had in there, and just completely glossing over it to show David going psychotic on it. And I actually I don't know if you guys watched the promotional thing, the Alien Covenant, the Last Supper promotional, where like all the crew is hanging around. I think that should have been in the movie.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think that would have been that would have fit in to the movie and would have added another great, I think it was like 5 minutes or whatever to it.
We got 30 more seconds of James Franco too.
Yeah, that I think that would have fit much better in the movie than as promotional material, because it made me think, oh, we're gonna have a scene like that, and you don't, because they wake up in a rush, then they cut to the cabin and Billy Crudup nervously taking over. Cut to him feeling betrayed because they slide off to do their own, little toast to James Franco and those who died. And then cut to going to that planet, or fixing the ship, then going to that planet. I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. It was better than Prometheus. Was it great? No, there were some really good things about it, like the cinematography, production design, set design were fantastic. Characters were much, much, much better.
Actors.
The actors were better. There were some good actors in Prometheus. They were just wasted.
I should say performances. Because even the best performances,
there were more strong performances in this than the first one.
Right,
yes.
because even the best performance from the best actor couldn't have saved a lot of those.
Because they were written so horribly. Yeah, I would say 7.5 out of 10. What did you guys think of the movie? Let us know your rating, what your favorite and least favorite parts were. Are you sick of the philosophical bullshit in this like Connor is? Are you annoyed as me as they kind of just gloss over the engineers and for just because? Do you really want 6 more Alien prequels?
We got to get that lore in somehow, Pat.
I would have been fine without any of it.
I would have been fine with just aliens, or it was just Alien and Aliens.
I would have been fine if they just stopped. Please, just stop making.
I actually kind of wanted to see Neil Blomkamp's Alien 5.
Yeah.
But at the same time, then his only good movie was District 9. So once the rest of his movies came out, I was like, okay, maybe not.
My name is Chappie.
If it makes it more like District 9, then we have a pretty good movie.
Yes.
I think District 9 is a little overrated, but that's just my opinion.
I think you're wrong.
End the podcast.
I think you're wrong, but
it's
guys.
good. No, it's a good movie. It's a very good movie, but people were like it's like the Bible of sci-fi movies, and it's not anywhere near that. But all right, I don't know.
Anyway, again, thank you to our sponsors, Loot Crate. Go to trylootcrate.com/awesome and enter the code BRIDGE10 to save 10% on any new subscription. That's trylootcrate.com/awesome and enter the code BRIDGE10 for 10% off any new subscription.
And Gamefly, thank you for sponsoring this episode as well. Remember, for a free 30-day premium trial, that's one game out. Specifically for the listeners of Awesome Sunday Show, you can go over to www.gameflyoffer.com/awesome.
And guys, buy a t-shirt right on awesomesundayshow.com. There's a nice little tab right up there on the homepage. Buy a t-shirt, maybe get a random VHS of Mystic Pizza.
Starring Julia Roberts.
Starring Julia Roberts. I guess that's the real selling point. And support us on Patreon and patreon.podbean.com/awesomesundayshow.
You're right over there, Chris.
Patreon.com/awesomesundayshow. Get some cool rewards while helping us out a lot. Be greatly appreciated. Or just, share those links if you don't want to give us money.
And read the blog.
And read the blogs every week.
Specifically Anthony's.
Anthony's.
No.
Maybe you'll get a Kaiju Tuesday this week because there wasn't this past
there
week.
was. No, there wasn't one. We done effed up. We didn't have an episode Sunday, and there wasn't a Kaiju Tuesday blog Tuesday. But there will be a Kaiju Tuesday blog next Tuesday. I had a 12.5 hour shift Tuesday, so I was not getting to it.
That's why you write it before Tuesday.
I should have.
Boom. Just kidding. Stay tuned for the blogs, and have a great Sunday.
I think this
week or whenever you listen.
But I
to
will
this.
let you know, this Kaiju Tuesday, if it's either gonna be this one or the next one, it's not gonna be what you expect.
To be honest, I don't know what I would expect to begin with on it.
No, you'll understand. You know what? I'll keep you waiting a little longer because you'll be like, you know what? I didn't expect that. You'll know what I'm talking about when I show it to you.
Is it
Maybe.
Honey, I Blew Up the Kid?
Fuck, dude. How did you know?
Wait, is it?
Yeah.
Yes!
No.
Wait, are you serious?
That is
Cut
it.
this part out.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid is a Kaiju movie.
Dude, that's so fucking funny that you just got that. All right, hold on. All right, guys.
We're not cutting that out.
That was a great reveal. Yeah, we're going to cut it, and then, you know what? Fuck it. We'll do it live. Leave it in there. But that's really funny that you got
Not
that.
surprised anymore.
Guys,
I can't believe you got that. I was so annoyed. I thought I was gonna be like, this is so original. No one's ever gonna know. Like, I'm gonna prove that Honey, I Blew Up the Kid is a kaiju film. Fucking like
It technically is.
It is absolutely a kaiju movie.
but yeah, read that blog whenever it gets posted. Even
yeah.
though the surprise was spoiled in a very funny way. But yeah, guys, take it easy. Enjoy your day, week, month, year, life. And fuck aliens. And Alien Resurrection, Alien vs. Predator, Requiem, and everything that came after that.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.